Nowadays, customers expect seamless experiences. They don't see channels, they see your brand. And to meet these expectations, we need to break down silos and create a unified, cohesive experience that feels effortless and intuitive. Leading this enlightening discussion is Arwinder Kaur, Vice President Marketing at Grazitti Interactive. Along with her, we have Michael Hartmann, Founder Principal, Hartmann Advisory Group LLC. We have Paul Wilson, Chief Strategist, GTM Systems, and Lauren Hagerty, Senior Director of Marketing and Communication at WeSolve. So let's dive into the art of creating a unified customer journey with AI. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed panelists to the virtual stage.
Thank you, Rhea. Good day, everyone. I welcome you all to Marketing Refocus 2024. I feel very, very happy to be on the host team of this conference and conducting this particular panel discussion, which is titled From Siloed to Seamless, Unifying Customer Journey with AI. In the past few sessions, you have listened to experts talking about how AI is positioning and penetrating our lives and enabling automation, analytics, digital journeys, and decision-making for marketers in specific. Let us now talk about how AI can be used to evolve and transform the customer experience landscape. Once again, I welcome my co-panelists, Lauren, Michael, Paul. Trust you're doing great. Shall we start?
Let's start.
Okay. It's nowadays noticed that in spite of this being a digital world, often companies are still struggling with fragmented customer experiences across different touchpoints. Let's understand why. Michael, would you like to share some point of view on what do you think are the typical characteristics of siloed customer journeys, and why are some companies still struggling with fragmented customer experiences?
Sure, I'm happy to do that. To me, it really comes down to sort of three main causes that are behind these siloed experiences. One, I would say, is a cultural phenomenon. It really gets to do you have a culture in your organization that has customer experience at the forefront, and do you have a culture that encourages collaboration between teams? Because what happens is you end up with teams that should be working together to drive customer experience that's good. They have different goals and objectives. That's the first one. Second, that sort of a flow out of that is that then you have independent systems that are not connected together, and you have these silos of data that are not always in sync and up to date, which is probably obvious for everybody on this call. The third, I think, is a little more of a subtle one, where I think AI might have a big play for us, which is a lot of these technologies are still built upon an assumption about the way that people buy that is different, I think, than the way people are buying these days. Mm-hmm. Many people, myself included, I spend a lot of time doing my own research before I ever interact with the organization. And I think these combination of these things are really what's driving these poor customer interactions at that point.
Well, sure, thank you. Lauren, would you like to talk about how what are the challenges of siloed systems, and in your opinion, how do data silos affect customer experiences, specifically brand perceptions or business operations?
Yeah, I think my answer is very similar to Michael's, or kind of piggybacks off of it, because one of the biggest challenges that we're facing as marketers is the data that's shared between departments is so siloed. So to bring that together and create one comprehensive journey or multiple comprehensive journeys is really difficult. So I also think there are three kind of main reasons that impact those really important revenue statistics, metrics, lifetime value, retention rates, and starting with decreased customer fit. So we're spending a lot of time and energy creating robust, ideal customer personas, but those customer personas, expectations, and needs are constantly evolving. And when we have very siloed journeys, within departments, this leads to products and services that don't fully address those customer evolving needs, especially as their situation and buyer journey really changes. So that really reduces the product's long-term value for the customer and potentially leads to churn. The second opportunity is missing upsell or cross-sell opportunities, right? When we're not sharing customer data across departments, we're missing the opportunity to really identify and offer those relevant upsell, cross-sell options. So for example, if the marketing team isn't aware of a customer that's using a basic product, that they're facing a challenge that a complex product can solve, this limits the potential revenue that a company can generate from those existing customers. And then lastly, talking about inefficient onboarding and support, right? Siloed journeys really lead to a disjointed onboarding and support experience. And that's where a customer might encounter conflicting information or have to repeat themselves. And not only is that super frustrating, and I know that because I'm also a customer, just as I'm a marketer, but that frustration ultimately decreases customer satisfaction, loyalty, and leading to churn.
Absolutely.
Could I just add one thought? So Lauren, just to double down on that, I've had many recent conversations about how important, especially in these days, it is to have a really tight and clean and positive customer onboarding experience, because that ultimately, that first impression lasts a long time, and it's probably a predictor of churn more than anything else.
Yeah. Thanks, Lauren. I totally echo the points you emphasized around increasing, that AI can be used to increase the LTV for customers, manage our cross-sell, upsell opportunities better. And we at Grazitti also try to leverage the same for some of these aspects for sure. One of the promises of AI is unifying the customers. I mean, that's what we're talking about in this session. But to comprehend this, I would like to ask Paul, how can AI help consolidate customer data from various sources to create a holistic customer profile? And please feel free to add any best practices known to you. Lauren, feel free to chime in here.
Yeah, that's, I think, one of the best mysteries that I think we all hope that machine learning and AI will solve, and that is we have multiple CRMs, we have multiple data stores, we have multiple marketing automation platforms, we have web data, we have all of these different repositories, and the key element that I think the journey of the conversation that Michael and Lauren have led us to at this point is siloed systems and siloed data can create fractured experiences for the customer, and machine learning might be able to help us here. And I think the key element of where machine learning can assist is in truly knowing and mapping what that customer experience is supposed to be. So one of the missing elements that I don't think has come up in the conversation so far is what is the storyboard of this persona's journey through the brand, and how are we to articulate what that experience should feel like? And I think there are some very positive and great examples of companies doing this well today, and it's become part of their DNA. The best example that I can think of is Netflix, where when I log in and I look at Netflix and I go to the tile for Stranger Things, it's a different icon than if my wife goes to exactly the same program, because they've tracked and noticed the other shows that she watches versus the shows that I watch. So it's the same product, it's the same experience, but the journey and how the journey is supported is a different storyboard. So I think as we think about where machine learning and AI can come to bear, is it can be at that surface layer connected to these huge repositories of what look like salient individual data points that actually come together to weave what the experience is. And where humans still need to be involved is in defining what that storyboard experience should be based on the persona.
Sure. Lauren, would you like to add some points to this?
I totally agree. And I think we're going to dive into, in another question, a little bit more about the different touch points. And I think someone asked a question about some B2B strategies. So my answer kind of comes up in a little bit. So nothing.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Yes, we're on the same path. Let's talk about some strategies for unifying these different touch points of the customer interactions with the company. Interactions across the social media platforms, emails, and age-old phone call platforms. What do you think, and what are your thoughts around how can AI help in creating this seamless journey for customer by identifying and mapping these touch points together?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of just what Paul was saying, right? Like building that seamless journey absolutely hinges on identifying all of those touch points. And I think every marketer on this call can agree, figuring out what tools, what resources, and how they're going to connect all of those different data points is number one challenge, especially for the people that are working on really small, bootstrapped, or working with very tight budgets. So my first tip or piece of advice, or I think just all around important item here, is selecting a marketing automation platform in the beginning that integrates the most important data points. I know I've worked at very small startups with very small budgets, and the sticker shock of these tools can be really daunting. But when you choose a tool that doesn't do all of the things that you need it to do, and perhaps don't have the human resources or can't invest in the tools that you're going to need down the road, you're really going to regret not making sure that you're set up for success in the beginning. And especially now that we have tools that with like AI, or that utilize AI to analyze that vast amount of data, you can really get a lot of bang for your buck when you choose the proper tool. And there's not a great one size fits all for every organization. You really need to weigh out those pros and cons for your particular organization. There are, again, a lot of really great tools that are popping up every day. And the things that I am looking for as a marketing leader are, again, things that integrate website behavior, CRM systems, support tickets, social media interactions. Sentiment analysis is really important. And now we're even seeing journey mapping tools kind of coming on the map. Some tools that I've been researching, they do Journey AI, UX Pressa, Lucidchart, really cool tools that are coming out to help us make better decisions as marketers. So I think all of this boils down to your first decision at the beginning with what marketing automation platform are you going to choose, and then grow with over time.
Wonderful, indeed. Why, in the last few sessions also we heard experts say, and again, my co-panelists, all of you are emphasizing that we believe AI is certainly helping marketers unify the customer journey if appropriately leveraged. And whether it's tools or digging insights and leveraging the insights from that. It's equally important that we also understand the challenges in building AI-powered customer journeys. Let's talk and shed some light on some of the challenges. For example, everybody of us knows that data privacy and security are two key concerns of customers. But to me, I think change management is also another important hurdle that comes across for marketing leaders when implementing technologies. And so what do you think, what can companies do, or how can they navigate the internal resistance within the organizations to secure stakeholder buy-in when implementing AI-powered customer journey initiatives?
Yeah, I'll take a shot at that. I think to me, AI is, it's fundamentally a different kind of technology, but it's still causing change in an organization if you're trying to put it in place. And like any change, there's going to be resistance. There are going to be people at different places along a spectrum of their readiness to adopt the technology. And, what's going to be really important, I think, is to have a well thought out plan of how you want to roll this out. Depending on your organization, it may be you do little bits at a time, or you do big chunks at a time. It kind of depends on how your company can handle the change. What I think I've found has been really, really important for any kind of fundamental change like this is having a very well thought out communication plan that starts well before you do that cutover from system A to system B, or adding system B to the ecosystem. And that means you need someone who spends a lot of time not just doing the project management piece of making sure the stuff gets built and put in place, but also getting people along that curve of readiness. In my own experience, what I've done in times before is we made a plan. We were going to do email communications. We had it very sort of planned out. We found our way into existing meetings with other teams that were going to have stakeholders that were going to be affected, and just asked for little bits of time. And ultimately that paid off, because at the end, there's always something that you don't expect and you have an issue. Everybody knew how to feed that back to us, and we handled, in this case, customer issues that came up. And I don't know that there's any real magic bullet beyond just doing that really hard work of communicating that often is overlooked in these kinds of things. So that would be my advice, is make sure that you plan this out and have a really strong communication plan that you really focus on, and make sure somebody is really moving that forward.
Sure, thanks. Paul, would you like to add something from your side? Any experience?
This is a big one. So I'll try to be concise and clear, because I could wander around on this topic. So I want to touch the two things that you've said. So the change management, but I do want to also emphasize compliance. And I have already seen larger organizations, enterprise companies who have a global footprint, make well-meaning mistakes that are really critical. And I do want to highlight compliance. So as you are investigating as a marketer, leveraging machine learning and AI, either to create content, to analyze data, or to deliver personalized experiences, verify and validate your company's position on using those tools before you implement those tools. So that's key. That's the first thing. And when you're implementing those tools, ideally, from a change management perspective, because of the pervasive and honestly dangerous power of machine learning and AI, make sure that the change is endorsed from the top, and that the change management comes down from the top. So you're not battling and fighting whether or not something is allowed, or if it's the direction the company wants to go. Try to have it endorsed as a change the company has a known position in support of. So you can say, yes, this is the tool the company has decided we're going to use, and we're going to use this particular feature and function. And then be aware of any regional and global compliance requirements you have, and plan a little bit for the future. I would highly recommend, as a marketing technology strategist myself, always know what might happen in the next 12 to 18 months. It could be that in the European market, there's a requirement where you need to give people the ability to opt out on your website for personalized or not personalized, i.e. machine learning or not machine learning experiences. So that choose your own adventure functionality begins at the moment you do an implementation. So if you can already think of capabilities like that you might need to support, pave the pathways today to support future capabilities rather than needing to re-engineer down the line. And I'll pause before I keep going on this one.
No, that's totally fine. I just want to touch one more point finally, but before that, I would like to just summarize this particular aspect, because this is very critical for marketing leaders. So when we decide to embark on adopting AI in our organizations for Unifying, we have to keep in mind the integration of this new tools with the legacy systems that we have. It obviously has a cost impact. It has impact on the resources and the skill set that we have, and not to ever forget the mindset, which best is if top to bottom driven. Final question, and very interesting. All of you great panelists, thank you so much. But let's just wind up by giving our thoughts on one point. What do you believe is the future for AI in marketing in 10 years from now? Anybody would like to take it? AI could sense voice, sentiments, emotions, create.
Well,
10 years from now, 10 years from now,
5 years.
we will all be on the beach. Computers will be selling to computers and marketing to computers, and we won't be needed.
will be batteries. Is that what you're saying, Paul?
Exactly.
So 10 years, I find hard to predict. I think over the course of the next, say, 3 to 5 years, I feel more comfortable. And Paul and I have actually talked about this. Like, I think there was a lot of push in the benefit of AI and machine learning, large language models with ChatGPT and DALL-E coming out. And I think the initial reaction for marketers was it was going to be a really great tool to really grow content. I think there's been I suspect there's going to be a second wave of that that's going to come later, because one of the risks with things like that is once you put stuff in there, it's now public domain, essentially, right? And so if you have IP stuff that you're putting out there, there's a risk. And I think the value of those tools go down with less information. So if you have a sort of a privatized one, doesn't mean there won't be some benefit. What I am excited about and think will have a big impact in the near term and the kind of next wave is going to be all about really enabling organizations, and it ties back to this personalization of a journey, is being able to get insights into this broad spectrum of data that's kind of all over the place now, and really churning through it, looking for patterns that we might not otherwise see. Today, that's really a human effort thing. You need people who are going to have an idea of what might be having an impact. They're going to go do some data analysis and they come back, but it requires them to think of an idea first, to have an hypothesis. If you can do that without having the hypothesis, now that changes the role. This is where you're getting to different people's roles, right? You still need people who understand data and what the output is to interpret, like, does this really make sense or not? And or can we do anything with it? So I think the next big wave is going to be on that kind of stuff, right? Really big powering data stuff, because every organization has a large enough volume of data today that one of these tools could really provide a lot of benefit.
Thanks, Michael. Lauren, any last words?
Yeah, I'll say really quickly. I mean, I think, again, AI is becoming more sophisticated every single day. And what really excites me is the idea that AI will know our brands almost better than we will. And that will allow and really even the playing field for a lot of the smaller organizations who don't have the resources that bigger organizations do. I don't think AI will ever, fully put us on the beach as much as I wish that it would. But I do think it makes our lives a lot easier and will just make our processes more efficient. And like we've said throughout this entire conversation, really allow us to provide much more streamlined and comprehensive experiences to the different types of customers we have, because no two buyer is going to be the same.
Sure. Thank you. Okay, with that, I would like to wind up this session, and I think all of us here have complete faith and confidence and intent to continue to leverage AI in a meaningful and a mindful way, keeping in concern and in front of us are all our customer concerns, and respecting of the data, privacy, security, all issues. But going forward, AI will become sophisticated, sharper, better, and our lives will be much more enhanced. Thank you very much for joining me on this panel, and I really loved it. Thank you once again.